Well, will we have peace on earth this holiday season, or are we headed for all-out war in the Middle East? It seems like the latter is what's happening. Over the past few days in the north of Yemen, a general mobilization is underway to send hundreds of Houthi fighters to the Gaza Strip. Israeli officials now admit overnight that they are nearing all-out war with Hezbollah. Western allies sending, of course, dozens of warships in and around the Red Sea. Yemen says they will target U.S. warships in response to any tensions in the Red Sea. Israel has ordered an evacuation in southern Gaza so they can start bombing there. And Benjamin Netanyahu just told Lloyd Austin that the U.S. is basically at war with Iran. Listen.
Mr. Secretary, it's good to welcome you and your delegation again. We're fighting a war of civilization against barbarism. I can say that when we spoke, I expressed again our commitment, Israel's commitment to achieve total victory against Hamas. And we think that this is not only our war, but in many ways your war, because you are leading the forces of civilization in the world. This is a battle against the Iranian axis of terror, which is now threatening to close the maritime strait of Bab el-Mandeb. This threatens the freedom of navigation of the entire world. I appreciate the fact that you are taking action to open that strait. It's not only our interest, it is the interest, I think, of the entire civilized community. And I want to thank you for the support that you have shown consistently. And I welcome the opportunity to talk about what else we're doing to have our common interests served. Thank you.
And now the White House today is threatening a veto of a UN Security Council resolution that would call for a ceasefire in Gaza and set up expedited inspection process there so they could bring in food, aid, medicine into Gaza. Imagine being in the Biden administration and being the one during Christmas time that pushes against a ceasefire. Daddy, what did you do today? Yeah, I voted to allow the continued bombing during Christmas. Thanks, Dad. You're a great father. So are we heading to war with Yemen? Are we heading to war with Iran? Let's ask former UN Weapons Inspector Scott Ritter, former U.S. Marine, who knows something about these inspection processes and something about the United Nations. Scott, great to see you.
Thanks for having me.
So when you hear, first of all, on the UN piece of this, the UN ceasefire, an inspection process that would allow aid to flow in here, what do you make of the United States threatening this veto on this resolution?
Well, first of all, it has nothing to do with the UN or an inspection process. It has everything to do with the Biden administration has given Israel a green light to kill as many Palestinians as possible between now and the end of the year. At the end of the year, the Biden administration has said that Israel needs to shift gears and change its strategy. I mean, this is the most callous, indifferent, literally bloodthirsty policy one can imagine, because literally what we're telling the Israelis is you can kill anybody and everybody for the next week or so, and then you have to stop. And so Israel's going to do that. We won't do anything to facilitate peace during this time. The United Nations will be able, I'll just say this without any hesitation, the inspection process put in place by the United Nations would guarantee that all humanitarian goods were indeed humanitarian goods and would be distributed to the proper people. There's no doubt about this. Israel can scream all at once about how Hamas will take over, Hamas will do this, Hamas will do this. No. Israel just doesn't want to do anything to alleviate the suffering of the Palestinian people because it is their strategy of collective punishment. They are trying to kill as many people as possible. I'm just stating that straight up. There's no military advantage here. This is 100% punishment because Israel knows it will not achieve its stated objectives. They will not destroy Hamas militarily or politically. So what they're doing right now is punishing the Palestinian people. This is targeted genocide against an innocent civilian population. It's the worst kind of war crime, and it's happening in front of everybody as we speak. And the United States is the principal facilitator of this. So Merry Christmas, America, you suck.
Yesterday, I asked presidential candidate Vivek Ramaswamy that question. I said, I asked him flat out, here, I'll play it for you right now. Is Israel committing a genocide there? Would you label it as a genocide? And here was his response.
I'll tell you where I come down. So I don't think that the use of the word genocide is appropriate there, because 20% of the Palestinian, 20% of Israel's population is Palestinian, and the place on earth where Palestinians live the best life is in Israel. But I'll tell you, I'm not running to be president of Israel, and I'm not running to be president of any other country. I'm running to be president of the United States of America. So as it relates to Ukraine, I'd end that war, and I've talked about that extensively. You asked about Israel. Here's my view. We shouldn't be intervening in that war. My message to Israel is Israel absolutely has the absolute right to defend itself, and I'll diplomatically stand for Israel's right to do so. But I'm against the $16 billion or $14 billion or whatever it is aid package. I don't think that's good for Israel, and I don't think it's good for the United States when we muddy the waters. And so it's not our job to be the global policeman, and I take issue with those, Biden or others, that are now going in the direction of calling what Israel's response is a genocide or whatever. I think that's inappropriate. It's off the mark. But I also don't want to intervene half in, half out in these conflicts in the Middle East that haven't advanced our interests.
Scott, what do you think about that? It's not a genocide, according to Vivek.
Vivek doesn't know what he's talking about. I mean, to be honest, I tell you what, Vivek, go live in Gaza for a minute. Send your family to Gaza. Send your loved ones to Gaza. Send anybody you care to Gaza, and they'll phone back to you and say, Vivek, it's a damn genocide. Okay, Vivek, you're thousands of miles removed. You're an idiot. You just disqualified yourself to be president of the United States. But then again, so has every other candidate who's running for president, so it doesn't matter. But no, Vivek, it's a genocide. Look up the definition of genocide. You're the one who's so clever with words and definitions. Be smarter than this. Be the leader you want to be. Be different than everybody else. Separate yourself from the pack by having an ounce of humanity in your heart, especially at this time, Christmas time. It is genocide. It is the targeted slaughter of civilians using American bombs and American aircraft with American money. We are the ones killing them, Vivek. You're the ones killing them. You're a genocide enabler. Don't pretend that you're anything other.
In our chat yesterday during that interview, our audience, who understands this deeply, said, look up the definition of genocide. Look it up. So I think they agree with you on that. So the White House position on this is carpet bomb. You have full carte blanche to do what you want. Okay, that's the White House position on this. Sending now warships to the Red Sea. So that's the U.S. side of this. What will the Iranian side and the Yemen side, the Houthi side, the Hezbollah side, what will that side look like over the next week to 2 weeks?
Well, I mean, Yemen has pretty much made a decision that it's all in. It is going to do what it can do to support the people of Gaza. And what it's doing is amazing from a geopolitical standpoint. They have shut down the Red Sea to Israeli maritime traffic. Shut it down. It's costing Israel billions of dollars, and it's disrupting global commerce. I mean, there is a meaningful impact to what Yemen has done here in terms of shutting down, ships transiting the Red Sea. The United States right now is desperately trying to come up with a solution. But let me just make it clear. We don't have the military force capable of handling this problem. And it's stupid to pretend that we do. We got a carrier battle group. That's it. What can it do? Drop bombs. Yemen's been bombed by American planes and American bombs since 2014. You suddenly think they're going to be intimidated because a couple dozen American airplanes flown by American pilots are be dropping the bombs? Two, we have no idea how to do, the targeting of relocatable targets, mobile relocatable targets. That's the Yemeni missile systems, etc. I played a role in that during the Gulf War. We sucked then, we suck now. We don't know how to do it. We can't do it. We're going to have zero impact. What we're going to do is empower the Yemenis to, maybe get that 1 in a million shot in, or 1 in 1,000 shot, or 1 in 100. We don't know what the odds are, and sink an American aircraft carrier. Merry Christmas, Joe Biden. You just took, and look, let's be frank about it. The American aircraft carrier is a legacy system dating back to the Second World War. It has no genuine military role today other than deterrence. The perception that it is this, powerful symbol of American power projection. But that symbol is gone when it's sunk. When you put the Dwight D. Eisenhower under the water, 5,000 to 7,000 dead Americans. That's what's at risk here. Why? Because we don't have the courage to tell Israel, stop. This could all end today if we imposed on Israel the requirement for a ceasefire. Pick up the phone, Joe Biden, and tell Bibi not another American dime will go your way if you continue this war one more hour. The war's over at that point because Israel can do nothing without American aid. Show the courage. Instead, what Biden is doing is putting all of American national security at risk, indeed global security, because you're not going to beat the Yemenis. You're going to empower them. Therefore, we're going to become more and more desperate. Israel is going to be more and more desperate. They're talking about expanding the conflict against Hezbollah. Israel, newsflash, you can't beat Hamas. You're not going to beat Hezbollah. They're 10 times more prepared. They have 100 times more powerful weaponry, and they have a plan to take northern Israel. If you want to lose the Galilee, go into a full-scale war with Hezbollah. And then what's America going to do? Intervene? Again, Hezbollah has been receiving Israeli bombs American bombs dropped by American-made airplanes for decades. They're not intimidated by anything America can bring to bear. And if America brings enough to bear, now we bring in the Iranian problem.
So that's what I want to get to next is the Iranian problem. That's the other big piece of this. I wanted to show you a tweet that Modad Geopolitics tweeted yesterday, and his thread has been really interesting on this, and get your take. He says, the Iranian strategy is to present the United States with a choice of either backing down in the Gaza war, thereby humiliating Israel and the U.S. and showing that the Zionist project is no longer viable, or fighting Iraq, Syria, Yemen, Lebanon, Gaza, and even Iran itself simultaneously. And he says the U.S. can cause enormous damage, but it cannot win a full-scale Middle Eastern war in multiple countries. Do you agree with that or disagree?
I agree with that. First of all, the U.S. can't cause immense damage anymore. You need bombs. We've given all our bombs away. There's only so many targets you can bomb, and there's only so many bombs that you can bring to bear on targets. But what will happen? First of all, the Houthi have said straight up that if they're attacked, and Saudi Arabia plays a role in any of this, they will eliminate Saudi Arabia's oil production potential. Just think about what I just said. They'll destroy Saudi Arabian oil production. They'll destroy UAE, United Arab Emirates, oil production. Now, Iran has pretty much said the same thing. If we get involved in this fight will destroy the global economy, especially the Western economy. Biden needs to wake up to the reality that America simply cannot impose its will on this problem. This is a problem bigger than America. We don't have the military capacity to prevail in this conflict. Yes, we can drop bombs in a lot of places. We will lose everything in the Middle East, everything in the region, because there's not a military facility in that region that is missile proof. And Iran has a lot of missiles. And they will bring death and destruction down on the Americans like they haven't seen since the Second World War. And then what? Now we're in a regional conflict. Can we throw cruise missiles at Tehran? Yeah. But to what end? Because Tehran will destroy everything we have in the region. And then where are we? We don't have the ability to invade Iran. We can't do it. You could mobilize the entire American military capability today. We can't invade Iran. We don't have the ability. So to what end are we getting in this war? At the end of the day, the costs that will accrue by the United States taking on the entire region on behalf of Israel will far outweigh the consequences of just telling Israel no. But we can't tell Israel no because Israel owns us. Every voting member of Congress is under pressure from the Israeli lobby. The President of the United States in this election year is under pressure from the Israeli lobby. Vivek is under pressure from the Israeli lobby. All American politicians are. Why? Because they own us. We've allowed Israel to insinuate themselves into the American political dynamic so that we can't separate legitimate American national security objectives, which include don't go into war against the world, from Israel. Benjamin Netanyahu has been trying for years to get America to go to war with Iran. And now it looks like he may succeed. Congratulations, Joe Biden. You've allowed the most vile war criminal in modern history, Benjamin Netanyahu, to dictate American national security policy to the detriment of the American people.
So I'll get you out of here on this, Scott, which is what happens over the next 2 weeks. We know the Israeli side and what the United States is allowing for this carpet bombing to continue. But do you see the United States? I thought, okay, we're going to have take a vacation here. We'll have a holiday break. It'll be quiet. No, it seems like this is not going to be a quiet Christmas at all. It seems like we're heading into a massive war. What do you see?
There's still a chance for reason to prevail, meaning that there are people surrounding Joe Biden who will tell him that this isn't the war you want. This will not make you a wartime president who's attracted to the American people. This will destroy you even more politically. And that's the most important aspect to be considered. Let's just be clear about it. Nothing that's happening right now with Israel relates to American national security. Israel does not promote American national security. Israel is an impediment on American national security. Israel is a giant weight around our neck, taking us to the bottom of the ocean. But we've somehow believed that we have to defend Israel as an extension of American national security. There's nothing that's happening right now in terms of defending Israel that promotes American national security. This broader war will be an absolute disaster for American national security, and it will have consequences that cannot be mitigated before the November election, which means that Joe Biden will lose the election. It's a 100% guaranteed outcome should he do this, because the economy, and again, I go back to James Carville. You remember when he was helping Bill Clinton run, it's the economy, stupid. It is the economy, stupid. And if you allow this conflict to expand, the impact on the oil market, on energy security, and what will happen to Europe and the United States, it will be total collapse. There are people around Joe Biden saying, "Boss, this ain't the way to do it. You got to start thinking about November. This is going to sink you." And hopefully they get through, along with the Pentagon, who has a history of telling presidents, "Hey, boss, we'll obey your orders, but understand we don't have an in-game strategy here. We got nothing. And you're going to open up a Pandora's box that is going to create problems that we can't solve. We don't have a solution for these problems." And I'm hoping that the combined impact of these two advisory vectors will be such that Biden will pull back. I don't think he's going to put pressure on Israel. But I think that if again, because remember, the consequences of going to war against everybody is going to last for years. The consequences of letting Yemen shut down Israeli maritime traffic until the end of the year lasts until the end of the year. At the end of the year, after Israel has killed as many Palestinians as they possibly can, we can see a ceasefire. We can see the humanitarian aid coming in. We can see that, and you can create the political conditions that have Yemen back down. So hopefully wiser heads will prevail here and just say, look, suck this up for another week and a half, and then let's try and walk away from this problem. But don't dive in with both feet, because it's going to be the proverbial tar baby. It's going to be quicksand, whatever analogy you want to use. It's going to suck us in and we're never going to get out.
I hope you're right about it, because when a president's approval rating is this low, two things have happened. The presidents have almost always started a war, or they've resigned. So there's two options. Maybe this will be the first. Maybe this will be the third way out here this time. Maybe he'll resign actually, and Kamala Harris will become president. That seems to be the path that Democrats are going now with that secret meeting this past week, trying to force him to do something here. Well, who knows? Gavin Newsom maybe will be the next president. My God. It's going to be a crazy Christmas. Scott, we appreciate your time today. Thank you so much. Hopefully you and your family have a Merry Christmas. We really appreciate your insights on all of this.
Thank you very much. And to you as well, you and your family, and to all your viewers, Merry Christmas. Happy New Year's.
Thank you so much for watching this segment here at Redacted. We are live every day at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, trying to share the stories that the mainstream media will not cover. You should also come over and join our community of Redacted Rebels over at redacted.inc. That's our private locals community where we can share exclusive content that we simply cannot share here on YouTube. Come over and join the rebellion together right now by going to redacted.inc. We'll see you next time.